All right. Good evening, everybody. Commissioner Ace Coach 704 PEL Primetime Elite League. We are rolling through season 5, and we are at the point where we are at the trade deadline. And it's always exciting at trade deadline time because a lot of people make a lot of dumbass decisions, and I get to rep them for it. And this year is no exception, as you will see here very shortly. And I'm just sharing out the show, and there it is. All right, so let's jump into it. On the screen, we last left off with the Dolphins picking up the strong safety Adrian Amos for a first-round pick from the Bears. So the next trade made was the Bears trading Leonard Floyd, star linebacker, to the Giants. And then the Giants trading a linebacker in Dre Greenlaw to the Bears. And also second and third round picks. Leonard Floyd is a player that, is coveted by a lot of people across the league. And of course the Giants have been trying to get him for God knows how long. And the Bears finally relented with them in rebuilding mode. Dre Greenlaw is an athletic linebacker that can, play as a user linebacker. And then the second and third round picks, I think, were good value to go along with that. So that's a pretty even trade for both sides, and the Giants finally getting a player that they really love. Now, moving on to week 6, we had a Panthers-Bills trade, the Bills being very active in trying to remake their roster. The Bills trading superstar defensive tackle Derek Brown to the Panthers, and also halfback Myles Gaskin to the Panthers, while the Panthers trade 91 overall halfback Ross Lawrence, an 80 overall defensive tackle in Cordavius Reeser, and then they throw in some picks. Panthers throwing in a 5th rounder, and the Bills throwing in a 3rd rounder. I'll tell you my motivation for this trade, obviously, is the D tackle Brown. I wanted to get back to a 4-man front, and Brown, definitely lets us do that. The 3-4 is okay for us, but we play better in the 4-3. Gaskin, we ended up cutting. It's just kind of a throw-in. Lawrence, obviously the big deal for the Bills. He's a very good running back. Re-signed him long-term. I actually ran better with him than McCaffrey, but McCaffrey, you can do so many more things with him. Not that you can't with Lawrence, but McCaffrey's just a little bit better. And then Reeser gives him a replacement defensive tackle, and then the picks were just kind of icing on the cake for both sides there. So I know from his perspective, he really wanted to get a running back that he loved, and he loved Lawrence when he saw, everything about him, and, I don't blame him. So that was the deal in that one. Then, of course, we needed a backup running back because Gaskin I didn't really like, so gave a 4th round pick to the Cowboys for Donnell Pumphrey. Pumphrey's a speed guy. He's got a few more years left in his prime. We'll try to re-sign him. He's being a little stingy right now, but one way or another, we'll get him re-signed, and he'll be here for the next few years. Eagles trading left tackle Judah Montgomery to the Browns. I remember him being a pretty good draft pick. Browns trade left tackle Mitch Hyatt to the Eagles. The Browns also trade Harris Wingo to the Eagles, and 2023 3rd round pick. I know Montgomery's a real talent, and then obviously the Browns gave up a replacement left tackle, a corner which the Eagles really needed help with, and a 3rd round pick. So the Browns had a lot of assets, and the Eagles don't. So, I don't mind that trade for both sides. I think it's good for the Eagles to maximize what they can to try to help rebuild different areas of their roster. And it looks like they made another trade here with the Joshua Fuller, another corner, and then the Eagles trading a 6th round pick. So you get more depth in the secondary for the Eagles. That's a good thing. This trade was a little surprising because you don't typically see these linemen change hands because they're so valuable in this Madden. But the Cowboys trading left tackle Tyron Smith to the Chargers. Chargers trading left end Isaac Rochelle to the Cowboys. And then the Chargers also trading a 2nd round pick in this year's draft and a 3rd round pick in next year's draft. So obviously the Chargers' motivation is getting a franchise left tackle that can still play. I know Smith is like 31, but he's so elite that he's going to be good for the next couple years. The Cowboys getting a DN and Rochelle to help them out. And I think this supplements another move that they make we're going to look at here in a second. And then the second and third round picks, the second round pick I think is a good value. It'll be a mid to late second with the Chargers. But the third rounder, I always look at those when they're a year ahead. I see those as like fourth rounders in this year's draft. So, not knowing much about Rochelle, I think it's a pretty good trade on both sides there. The Buccaneers trade free safety MJ Stewart to the Bills, and the Bucs trade defensive tackle Vincent Valentine to the Bills. Bills trade a first-round pick. Now, MJ Stewart is a very, very good free safety. He's in his prime. He'll have probably 3 more years left in his prime. So, giving up a first-round pick with the way DBs have been in our draft classes, they'll be better this year because I made them. But overall, I don't mind it. When we're at this point in, our CFM, we're kind of midpoint. So, the draft picks kind of step down in value as you go along in your CFM. So that's not a bad deal right there. Them also trading a defensive tackle. That's depth for the Bills. They really needed depth at D tackle. The Bills' first rounder, though, is a high first rounder. But, that's not bad. They really needed a free safety, in my opinion. They had guys back there that were older and, they were getting beat deep a lot. So Stewart will help in that respect. The Bills in a fire sale, trading wide receiver Mike Evans to the Titans. Titans trade a third-round pick to the Bills. Mike Evans is still a very good receiver. Of course, possession tall receivers aren't as valued as much, in Madden. The Titans will help. This will help their roster immensely to give them a true number one. I think they have a lot of decent receivers right now, but they needed someone to put them over the top. And they're near the top of the AFC, so that will help a lot. And only giving up a third rounder that's going to be low because they're going to be in the playoffs. That's a good value deal for the Titans right there. Bills trading free safety Jordan Poyer to the Panthers. Bills trade Zay Jones to the Panthers. The Panthers trade quarterback Jacoby Brissett to the Bills. Trent Taylor to the Bills. And they also trade a fifth rounder, and the Bills trade a fourth rounder. So, when I posted Jacoby Brissett in the chat, the Bills are interested because for some reason they can't get the most out of Josh Allen. And Josh Allen has 99 throw power, and that's an elite skill. But it's something that it takes getting used to. If you're not used to it, it can affect you and how you play and everything. So he wanted to get Brissett. And for me, I always like getting depth in the secondary. Poyer's a good player. He can play both corner and safety. I like his versatility. Jones, is a good depth receiver for us. And Taylor really didn't fit our schemes, so that's why he's in there. And then the draft picks were, icing on the cake for both sides right there. All right, Bucks trade left guard Ollie Marpet to the Redskins. Redskins trade a third-round pick to the Buccaneers. I don't know why. I don't know why this happened. I mean, if Marpet needs to be re-signed, that's one thing. But like I said, good offensive linemen don't come around very much. And Marpet, I believe, was 86 overall. And 86 overall for a third-round pick to me is just highway robbery for the Redskins in that deal. Chargers trade wide receiver Tyrell Williams to the Bills. Bills trade third-round pick to the Chargers. That's a good deal for both sides. Obviously, the Chargers, felt like they could let Williams go on the third-round pick for him. I think is good value, so I think that's a good trade for both sides. The Bills really needed some receiver help. Corey Coleman, I think, is about to, not be re-signed, so that'll help them. All right, Packers trade Lamar Miller to the Cowboys. Cowboys trade James Atkins to the Packers. Packers also give up a second-round pick and a third-round pick in this year's draft. Now, Atkins is a really, really good player. I think he's like a 96 overall or something like that. I know the Packers are offering 2 firsts for a DN, and they only end up giving a second and a third for a guy that's rated that high. And I was a little surprised when I saw it happen. I know the Cowboys wanted to get some picks, but I thought they could have did a little better. But you know how Agape is, so I guess he settled on that. But I think it's good value for the Packers because of how good Atkins is. Miller, he's on his last legs. In the second and third, Packers are trending toward the playoffs, so those will be mid to late round picks there, depending on how far they go. I'd like the Packers winning that trade. And this just made me sick. Cowboys trading Chris Conley to the Colts, and the Colts giving up a third-round pick. Chris Conley, I developed him for several years in Carolina and turned him into a player that should be a dominant force. The only reason I trade him because I got a first-round pick for him. I mean, the guy has 99 jump. He has blazing speed. He's in the peak of his career, and the Cowboys gave up a first-rounder for him. For me. And now to give him up for a third round pick that is not going to be very high because the Colts will most likely make the playoffs and get in the AFC. That's highway robbery for the Colts. I mean, good gracious. Come on, man. All right. Let's look and see what's been going on in games played this week. Okay. Big game, 2 undefeated guys. Browns defeating the Dolphins 21-13. Thought this game would be higher scoring. Both of these offenses have came in on fire, but the defenses really showed up on both sides, which is a huge surprise. And the passing yardage is down. Baker Mayfield only 108 yards passing. Drew Lock with 172. Very efficient passing games, not much running at all. Good grief. Receivers, no real huge numbers right there. Hall had 3 for 66, is the leading receiver for both teams. And then defensively, we should have a couple standouts here. Emmanuel Ogbon, the big day with 3 sacks. And then a couple interceptions on both sides, but surprisingly low scoring game, but the Browns remain undefeated on the season. Another defensive struggle. Giants over the Bears, 14-7 in New York. Turnovers once again, 4 turnovers for the Bears, only 1 for the Giants. Big difference in the game. Look at that time of possession. My goodness. When you play the Bears, it's going to be a grind and a struggle. They slow the game down and they try to win it at the end, but the Giants just made a couple more plays here. Star quarterback Harold Taylor held to 140 yards passing. Trubisky, once again, I'm telling you, you got to get rid of this dude, man. 4 interceptions. He is just terrible. Decent running yards on the ground for both sides there. Receivers, no real standouts. Miller did have 69 and a touchdown, though. Holding down Tyreek Hill, 1 for 18. That's impressive. And then defensively, we should have a couple standouts. Looks like Cleveland Farrell with 2 sacks for the Giants. And a couple interceptions for Darren Lee and Ben Pruitt, who I cut, who has now had a ton of interceptions because, they play him in that sub package, but that's okay. I'm glad he's playing. Good for him. Baltimore over the Falcons, 21-0 as the Falcons offense continues to struggle this season. I know they're beset with injuries. 4 turnovers didn't help either. And then it was a close game, though. 7-0 through 3 quarters. And then, Hydrotic was able to get 14 in the fourth to put it away. Lamar Jackson, you guys are playing some hellified defense, man. 128 yards, 8 of 13. Will Greer struggling again, 76 yards passing. Good gracious. Polo Thomas, 8 for 42 on the ground. No big receivers, really. Dante Pettis, 58 and a touch. And defensively, we should have some nice numbers here. Couple interceptions for Baltimore, and a couple sacks for Zach Allen out of Boston College. ATL got off a little bit right there with a couple sacks. A lot of sacks overall, but Baltimore gets the win. Tough team. Welcome, New England Patriots. New owner, Patriots owner, very nice guy so far. I hope you stay that way. This franchise has been cursed like hell in this league, and hopefully we broken the curse here. But the Patriots win 20-7 over the Steelers. Defense once again rules the day. 3 turnovers for the Steelers. The Steelers did post Jason Karingo on the block, former storyline player. I think that's a mistake, but anyway. Both quarterbacks under 100 yards passing. And we're going to have to look at some defensive sliders or something, or you guys are just balling out this week on defense. It's impressive. Terrible offense, but still impressive. Bryce Love, the best running back we don't know in the PEL, 74 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Check him out. He's a hell of a player. Not much passing, obviously, on both sides there. And then defensively, we should have a couple good guys here. A couple sacks right there for the Patriots. Actually, 4 for the Patriots. And then Trey Flowers, free safety with a couple interceptions. Big game for him. So, once again, welcome Patriots. Good job. The Patriots have a really, really good record. Somehow. But anyway. Broncos over the Jaguars. Fun game. 26-22. Looks like it came down to the end there. -3 rushing yards for the Jaguars. Good gracious. 6 turnovers. Once again, it's a miracle they're in the damn game with those many turnovers. My goodness. And look at that time of possession. 20 minutes. Almost 21 minutes. Broncos only to 7 for the Jaguars right there. Bo Nix struggling in his rookie year. Did get 3 touchdown passes, but 6 interceptions. It's been a tough go of it for him. Derek Carr, former Panther quarterback, 226 in the air, but 1 interception. Not much on the ground for either side. Cortland Sutton, big game, 6 for 105. Anthony Schwartz, the freak from the draft, 3 for 164, 2 touchdowns. Bombs away with him. And then defensively standing out, we got a couple guys with some sacks here on both sides. Denver is very aggressive, and Jacksonville has 10.99s on their defense. Interception-wise, my goodness. Carlos Hodge, Duke Dawson, Bradley Roby, all with 2 interceptions. One should be a touchdown there. Oh, no touchdowns. Oh, that sucks. All right, well, good job. Broncos on that victory, keeping pace in the AFC West. Oh, those evil Rams out of L.A. 28-3 winner over the Seahawks. Seahawks really had some good stats there, but turnovers, once again, 5 turnovers for the Seahawks, only 1 for the Rams. Always telling the story. Seahawks even dominated time of possession, but the Rams were able to get the victory with those turnovers. Jared Goff only had 95 yards passing, didn't need to throw it much, 6 of 8. Jameis Winston, 14-24 for 205, but 3 interceptions were critical. Todd Gurley, 10 for 98 and a touch. Didn't need him that much, obviously. Receiving, no real huge games right there for the receivers. And then defensively, we'll have a couple of interceptions from the Rams. 2 sacks for that Aaron Donald, who's just practically unblockable. 2 interceptions for Marcus Peters. He might have a touchdown. And he does, so he'll probably get a player of the week right there. Good job for that Rams defense. Ramming it all up in Seattle. Finally, right now, the Cowboys over the Vikings 13-10, and the Cowboys, came back and won that one in the 4th quarter with hardly any offense. Wow. Okay. Good Lord. The Vikings have to be sick at this one. 2 turnovers on both sides. They dominated the stats. Still come up short. My goodness. And dominated time of possession, too. What happened in this game? Kuiper, 255 in the air. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Prescott, 6 of 11. Only 81 yards passing with 2 interceptions. Not much on the ground. I think you should have gave it more to Newton, 2 for 32. He's having a pretty good day right there. LaCour with the 1 touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott, no yards rushing. Good gracious. My goodness. Curtis Samuel, one of the best receivers in the league, 5 for 133 right there. Thielen with a touchdown reception of his own. And then defensively, Hakeem Fisher's former storyline player with 4 sacks. My goodness. What a day. 2 tackles for loss on top of that. A couple interceptions on both sides right there. Awuzie had a touchdown. I bet you his play probably changed the game right there. Defensive touchdown. That's the only touchdown the Cowboys had. So, good job. in that one. Still to go, we got Jets, Colts. I don't know if they're going to play. Bengals, Bucks are scheduled for some time tonight. Cardinals, Eagles playing now, along with Chiefs, Chargers. This is a force for the Panthers. And then Titans, Texans are scheduled for tomorrow, I believe tomorrow at 7. So I believe that'll be the last game, because I doubt they'll play. Jets, Colts. So advance around 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Take a look at the league standings and see where we are right now. A little possible playoff previews. In the North, Browns at 7-0, starting to run away with it. Ravens 4-3. Steelers 2-5. Bengals 2-4. Two-team race. I think Bengals are digging a hole right now, losing 3 in a row. Tough games, but they've lost 3 in a row. 3-game lead for the Browns right here over the Ravens. I believe they've defeated the Ravens one time already, I think. I have to double check that, but when we get to playoffs, we'll take a look at it. AFC South, what a hell of a division right here. Texans at 7-0, Titans 6-1. Huge game tomorrow at 7. That's the game of the week. Live on PBS, by the way. Colts at 4-2, looking good for a possible wild card spot. And then the Jags at 2-5. That just shows you how good the damn South is. He's got all them 99 star players and speed and everywhere. They're only 2-5 in that division. Hellified players in that AFC South. Nothing but respect for those guys. AFC East, Dolphins and Patriots tied at the top at 7-1. Obviously a two-team race. Bills rebuilding. Jets. I talked to Jets. He's busy with a couple different things, but he says he's very dedicated to the league. So no love lost there. The funny thing with the Patriots is, despite the instability, they started off the season getting a couple of sim wins, and then they got a forced win, and then they lost one game, and then that dude quit, and then we got the new guy in there who played a couple games, was cheese, tried to get him straightened out. He quit, but he won the games he played, and now we're on our third Patriots owner, and they're 7-1. I have never seen anything like that in PEL history. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen, but that's why I wish we would get the ability as commissions to reverse games like that, because it's not necessarily right, but it is what it is. We got what we got. So Dolphins and Patriots, don't believe they've played head to head yet, which is good because they can settle it head to head, and that's the way it should be in a situation like this. All right, and then jumping over to the AFC West, does anyone want to win this division? Everybody's under 500, and I think everyone's got a shot, obviously. Chiefs and Chargers are playing right now. Broncos won this week, and I think the Raiders, I think they have a bye. I don't think they played this week. So we're going to have 3 teams at 3-4. This is pretty much crazy. So if you're in this division, you got a shot. And I think that's going to be your only shot at getting in the playoffs in the AFC. So everyone needs to be loaded for bear and go down the stretch here in the AFC West. And it's going to be a hell of a fight. But I appreciate everyone in there playing hard. And, it would be nice to see, some different people in the playoffs. So in the AFC right now, obviously top seeds the Texans. Browns would be the number 2 seed because they're undefeated. And then the Dolphins would be the 3 seed. And then who's the other one? Raiders, top of the AFC West, would be the 4 seed. And then your wild cards would be the 7-1 Patriots right now, and then the 6-1 Titans. So it's tough in the AFC, man. It's a tough life. Anyone, Colts, Ravens, would be out of it, and they're both repeat playoff teams from last year. So that's crazy. It's a razor thin margin. So your AFC games between each other are very important because those conference record tiebreakers come into play when you start talking about playoffs. All right, NFC in the North, we got the Packers at 4-2. They're going to get a forced loss this week. He says he's not available. So there'll still be a game up on the Vikings, who lost that tough game this week to the Cowboys, 3-4. Lions 3-4, playing games. They're in it. Yeah, that's all right, man. Won 3 in a row. Look at there. Detroit turning it around. Then the Bears at 1-7. So hey, 3-team race. 3-team race in the North. It'll be fun coming down the stretch with the Lions in it for a change. There you go. All right, in the NFC South, not the same story. Panthers at 6-1. 3.5. Well, it'll be a 4-game lead over the Bucks at 2-4. Well, we'll see. They play the Bengals this week, so they could win that one too. Falcons at 2-6, and then the Saints 0-7. So let me say this. If you have someone that's interested in joining the league, let me know. I got a PSN message from somebody. I got to send him a message back. He said he was interested in joining. I will look to replace the Saints for the rest of the season because obviously he is still hurt and doesn't want to play. So I will find someone. And if you got someone, let me know. I want to get the Saints active again. They have a good team and at least playing some games. So. But we're in a pretty good spot here in the NFC South. We defeated the Bucks already, Falcons and the Saints. We'll see on the second time around. They'll be motivated to kick my ass, I'm sure. But we'll see what happens. NFC East, Giants. This is a good race. Giants at 5-2, Redskins 4-3, Cowboys 4-3, Eagles 1-5. I'm glad to see this division bouncing back. Last year they struggled a little bit. Guys got busy. But it's going to be a hell of a 3-team race coming down the stretch right here. I don't know who's going to get it, man. Redskins dominated the past couple years, but now Kyle's got some real good guys on that offense and defense making trades. Cowboys making some moves as well. Eagles, realizing the situation, rebuilding, which is a smart move. That's fine. Hell, that's going to be a fun race to watch in the East. I'll tell you right now, I don't want to see the Giants or the Redskins in the playoffs because I'm lined up to see somebody like that, and I'm due to lose to both of them. NFC West, Rams running away with it, 8-0. Evil Empire in Los Angeles, ramming it to all of us, but that's okay. Seahawks at 4-4. Losing 3 in a row. Cardinals 3-4. And then the 49ers 2-5, trying to get it turned around a little bit. I think all three of those teams still have some wild card hopes. They got to get hot though and try to take it down the stretch. NFC playoffs started today. Rams beat number 1 seed. Panthers number 2 seed. Giants number 3 seed. And then the Packers would be the 4 seed. Your wild card teams right now. Redskins 4-3, Cowboys 4-3. Your 2 wild card teams, both coming out of the NFC East. Wild card contention: the Seahawks, Vikings, Cardinals, and Lions. In my opinion, right now, and if the Bucks win tomorrow, they'll be in wild card contention as well. All right. Now, I don't think we've got awards just yet. I think that's coming up. That'll be next week. We'll take our first look at awards. We're at 28 minutes. We won't hit stats this week. You can check those out on your own. Couple little things real quick. Obviously, trade deadline is this week. So make your moves. Do what you got to do. We just went through the standings. If you're in the playoff race, try to go get what you need. If you're out of the playoff race, hey, sell off, get some draft picks, get ready for this upcoming draft. Remember, storyline players in this draft, so this draft class will be a little bit stronger than the past couple ones we've had the past couple seasons. So those top picks are going to be valuable if you think our storyline players are going to be good. There's only one superstar guy. Only one. So just be smart. Do your scouting. Draft stories will come out a little bit later. Make sure you stay up on those. And, hey, let's go get it, man. Season 5 going strong. Really proud of you guys once again. Saints, we're looking for a replacement for him, but everyone else is rolling really pretty good. And appreciate everyone's dedication to the league. And, we'll be back again next Wednesday with another PEL Live. We'll do power rankings next time. We'll jump into awards, see who's leading the award chases everywhere. And then we'll look at the standings and where the playoffs stack up. Excuse me. All right, guys. Have a good week. Thanks for watching.